Okay, so this video is going to show us all about the different sorts of camera shots that you could comment on or that you might be faced with within your exams. And it's also really important to think about when you're tackling that component 3 or the coursework component of your course, because you are going to have to take your own images if you want to get anywhere near a decent mark. So we're going to have a look at each of the different camera shots, and we're also going to have a look at camera movements as well for when we have a look at moving image later on. All of the images that you see, with the exception of one, I think, have been taken by me. So you're going to see a little bit of an insight into my life. And I'll be telling you not only what the shot is, but what it suggests as well. For the camera movements, there's a really good video that I took the stills from, which I'm going to link down below in the description box. It's really useful for you guys to have a look at it because it explains it all and shows it you perfectly. So check that out. We're going to start off with a candid shot. Now, a candid shot can be any kind of shot. So it could be a candid long shot, candid close-up, any kind of angle or style. But the important thing about a candid shot is that it's taken without the subject's knowledge. So as we can see here, Devlin has stolen one of my socks and he didn't think I'd noticed, but I had. Candid shots are often used to show that somebody's up to no good, but this might not have been the original emotion when the image was taken. So you need to think about why the producers are using the candid image in the way that they are. And normally a candid image will have been cropped or cut out so that it's only a particular person and you don't get any reference as to how or why that shot was taken originally. Now, the opposite of a candid shot is a posed shot. So this is where a photograph is staged, so it's obvious that the subject knows they're having their image taken, as I was here. It's any kind of angle or shot again, but it normally suggests formality, or it presents a particular kind of style or meaning, because that's all created in the staging that's taking place before the photograph is taken. Selective focus, again, it can be any kind of shot, so long shot, mid shot, close up, but it's where part of the image is sharp and clear compared to the rest of the image, which is fuzzy and out of focus. So this emphasises the importance of what's in focus. So here Devlin's face, his chops, his snout, they're all really important compared to the ground and his legs, and that sort of thing. So we can make more emphasis on the bit that's in focus compared to the bit that's out of focus. Okay, so a long shot then displays the full length of a person from head to toe. We can establish character because we can represent them in a certain way. We can see their dress codes, we can see the way that they're standing and the way that they carry themselves. We can also see gestures as well, and so this is useful not only to give us an idea of who the character is, but we can also see what's going on in the background as well, and that might be important in relation to the character. Similarly, an extreme long shot shows the whole of a person, but from a much greater distance, and this makes them seem more vulnerable because they seem smaller against the setting, and it also means that we add emphasis and importance to what's going on around them rather than themselves. A mid shot displays the torso from head to waist, so although you can't see my waist at this point because the pup is on me at the minute, it is a mid shot, and by bringing the subject closer to the camera we have a greater connection to the audience, and you can also see more of what's going on around that person that might be of importance. Okay, close-up shot. So the subject of the shot is almost right up at the camera, so that normally means that only a part of them, so usually the face, is shown, as mine is here. It highlights and emphasises information such as gestures and emotions, so you can tell that I'm really excited about eating my weight in ice cream, and the gestures that I'm making at this point as well. An extreme close-up shot shows a significant part of someone in much greater detail, and this might be where we have that selective focus. So here we can see that the paws are right up close to the camera and we can see them in much greater detail. So this can emphasise a single action or something that might be very minor but is given greater importance at that point. A wide shot shows the whole area, so it's great for establishing setting, in this case the motorway, as it's something that's usually used as an introduction, so it can help the audience create a connection with what is going on, where it's happening and who it's happening to. An extreme wide shot or panoramic shot gives a sense of scale because we almost see the setting in sort of 360 degrees. So it just adds emphasis to what we would normally have in a wide shot. So it can, in some instances like what we have here, represent sort of grandeur. Now, a bird's eye view or high angle shot is taken from above the subject. So by looking down on them, it makes the subject seem smaller. And when they're smaller, they're normally more vulnerable and more emotional. And that means that we can connect with them on a sort of emotional level. Whereas a worm's eye view or a low angle shot is taken from below, looking upwards at the character. And this can make the subject seem more powerful and dominant. They seem larger because the camera is below them. So you can see in the two images that we've got the same cow here and here, but this time it seems much more dominant and stronger compared to here. Okay, so cutaway shot. A cutaway shot shows both the subject and somebody else in the frame. So this makes the subject seem less important, and it can also emphasize other details by giving the audience an alternative focus. So in this meme that we've got here, our subject is this girl right here, but the importance and the emphasis is taken off this person because of these people here in the background. So it gives us an alternative focus. An over-the-shoulder shot does what it says on the tin really. It looks past the subject to something in the distance, in this case the sunset. And because it's taken over the shoulder, it makes them seem more relatable because we're placed directly in the action. It's almost like we're standing behind them as this happens. Now, a straight on or eye level shot could be posed, could be candid. It's any sort of shot type, but it's taken on the same level as the person. So the camera is literally at the same level as the subject, looking straight on at them. This creates a connection between the subject and the audience, and depending on the atmosphere or meaning, it could be either a positive connection like we've got here, or a negative connection. Now, a point of view or oblique, canted, however you want to call it, shot seems like the audience are looking right out of the subject's eyes. So this directly places us in the subject's position. It makes us feel everything and experience everything that the subject does. Okay, so we're on to our camera movements now. So you're going to want to check out the video that's in the description box below. A panning movement is where the camera moves on a horizontal axis, so from side to side. So this helps to create a sense of scale, but it can also keep the subject in the centre of the frame as they move, so we get a better understanding of how they're feeling at the time. A tilt is the opposite of pan, so it's moving up or down in a sort of vertical movement. And this can keep the subject in the frame again, but again we get to see a little bit of their personality or a sense of scale if the subject is standing still. Dolly, trucking and tracking is similar to panning. A dolly shot moves from side to side, but in this instance we are travelling with the subject. So what will happen is the camera is placed on a vehicle like a car or a plane, and we follow that character all the way through. So this can help to show a subject's journey, whether that's a physical journey or a metaphorical journey, and it also makes the subject a definitive focus because they never stay out of the centre of the frame or close to the centre of the frame at the time. Crane is the opposite of dolly, but it's also shot from the air. So just the same as a dolly movement, it can show a journey, but it's also something that can swoop in and out of the action to emphasize significant details. Handheld movements are taken by a cameraman with a handheld camera rather than a fixed camera or a camera mounted on an individual in a fixed position. So this usually happens in user-generated news. So where footage is taken on a phone or is taken by somebody who's not trained, then we get this sort of wobbly camera action, and that means that we're placed at the centre of the action because they're normally point of view shots, or it makes it feel like a point of view shot. Zooming in or out of somebody for zoom shots makes them seem closer or further away, obviously, depending on the camera movement, but this can show significant information or make a person seem more isolated or alone, and it can also give the audience time to reflect on what's happening as well. And finally, an aerial shot is normally taken from a helicopter or a drone, so it could be classed as a form of crane shot, but the difference is that it's normally used as an establishing shot because it gets up really, really high. So establishing shots help to set locations, it can create drama and excitement, but we're not focusing on any one individual subject at this point in time. Hopefully you find that useful. Here are all our key terms for today. If you have any questions or comments or suggestions, pop them in the comments box, or you can get in touch with me through Twitter at media_revision. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. If you hit the button next to it, then you get instant notifications every time I upload a new video. And I shall see you guys later for another video.